I'm Rain.
And this is Raven Wynn. And you're listening to the Feather and Bone podcast.
Are they?
Yeah. Two witches talking about everything witchy and nothing at all. So this is the fourth time that we've tried to record this podcast. Number 4. I'm not going to get into the long, it'll be the first time you guys hear it, but it'll be the fourth time I say it. So I'm not going to talk about our week, and it's only Monday. I'm not going to do it. Today's podcast is about psychic abilities.
All right.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the different psychic abilities and, what they are, what they entail. And, you may have some of these. Who knows?
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. The website that I used for this information is paranormal.lovetoknow.com/list_of_psychic_abilities. Abilities. So psychic abilities have been reported throughout world since recorded history. It's in everything. It's even mentioned in the Bible in some places, things that are being foretold and everything. So it's everywhere.
They even had magicians and shit.
Yeah.
That lived in the palaces and stuff.
Yeah. So, it really has been, psychic ability has been part of culture since culture started, Some people believe they have several intuitive or spiritual gifts, while others only recognize having one psychic ability. There are many types of abilities out there, and it helps to have a list to define each one. So that's what we're going to do today. Clairs. When the first time I talked about clairs, Rain was like, "What?" You made some reference to a movie about clairs.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I still don't know what movie
Had
you're
Christian
talking about.
Slater in it, and Winona Ryder, and he started liking her. And he ended up being crazy and blowing up the school and shit. But there were 3 girls in there that were bitches. I can't remember. I think they were all named Claire or some shit.
Yeah.
They were the Claires.
The Clairs. Yeah.
I could be wrong, people, but it was a good movie.
You're like, it was a long time ago.
I'm old.
It had Christian Slater in it. That should tell you how long ago it was.
I'll be 43 in 52 days, so.
Oh, and she's counting down. She really is.
I love my birthday.
She doesn't just celebrate her birthday on a day. It's like she's a Kardashian. She is celebrating the whole month long. Like everybody knows.
Yeah.
But anyway. So we're going to go over the clairs first. And of course, they say that psychic abilities are known as a sixth sense. Not the movie. I've said that in every podcast. I'm going to say it in this one too. It's not the movie. It's just that extra knowing, and however that comes through. So the first clair that we're going to talk about is clairaudience.
That's what I have.
And that's what Rain has. Clairaudience means that a person is able to hear beyond what is the normal hearing perception. Sometimes these are the voices of spirits, but they can also be sounds. So it could be like you could hear music playing.
Yeah.
And no one else hears the music but you.
Yeah.
It could be Aunt Bertha coming. I don't even have an Aunt Bertha. I don't know why that name came out.
I don't know anybody that has Aunt Bertha.
I don't know a Bertha, period.
No.
But it could be a spirit of a loved one, or in your case, not even a loved one, just spirits.
Just random motherfuckers.
Like, hey.
That drives me crazy.
You can hear me, so I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah.
You've heard humming sounds, like in music.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could be anything. Like you might hear, like, let's say you did have a loved one that wore like a lot of bracelets and made a lot of like jingling sounds as they moved and stuff. You may hear that sound. So it's hearing something that no one else is hearing is what clairaudience is. I'd say that's what led to a lot of people being labeled as crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like way back in the olden days.
You love saying that.
I do. The olden days.
Just to throw something in there that has nothing to do with what you're talking about. I just found a page on Lustcraft.
Okay. She's looking at these magazines. What are they called again?
Which Way magazine?
Which Way magazine. She got some of the print versions of it, and she's been in love with it.
I love them.
Yeah. So if you're hearing things that no one else hears, that's a sign that it could be clairaudience,
Or you need to see a professional.
Or you might need to see your local mental health, healthcare professional. So, and a lot of times, like when people say, like, what's her name, the Caputo woman that you like,
Teresa.
She has clairaudience. She can hear and talk to spirits. She's a medium.
She sees them.
She sees them too.
She sees them. They use symbols, and she hears them.
Yeah. So she has 2.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is claircognizance. Psychics with claircognizance know things without having any previous knowledge about the topic. The knowledge is inexplicable. It's just that the psychic knows it to be true. It's believed that this knowledge is bestowed by their higher self or even spirit guides and is simply downloaded into their minds. I have claircognizance. I just know. There's no rhyme or reason why I know what I know. Likewise, there's no rhyme or reason of what it is that I end up knowing. I wish it worked, to where I could just know what the winning lottery tickets, numbers were going to be. I would change my life real quick.
My husband's been hounding you on that.
He has been.
Years.
He has been. And that's one of the biggest things that people don't believe psychics about is the whole lottery thing. There is no way to psychically win a lottery. Because you and I both believe in the law of attraction.
Yeah.
So every single person that buys a ticket, they're hoping that they're the one.
And your thoughts are energy.
And your thoughts are energy. So there's so many thought processes out there that's really just sending everything kind of crazy and back and forth. And there's no way that a psychic can do that and predict that. And there's too much other things involved. But anyway. So yeah, I have claircognizance. And it's got me in trouble.
Your family stays pissed off at you all the time.
They do.
They think you're being a bitch.
Yeah, they think I'm being a know-it-all bitch.
Yeah.
And I know it all. And I am a bitch. But I'm not being a know-it-all bitch.
My response is always just like, don't help them.
Yeah.
Just watch them crash and burn.
Well, and I've been keeping to myself a lot more recently than what I used to. You know this.
Yes. You're happier.
I am. And I'll even tell Mom, because Mom will call and talk to me about different stuff that's going on in the community and with my family and everything. And I'll say, well, I can tell you what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell her, and sure enough, it happens exactly how I said.
Yeah.
But we don't share with other people anymore just because it never has gotten me anything good. So that's claircognizance. Clairvoyance.
That's what Asen has.
Asen has that. This ability refers to seeing visions of events, people, and places beyond physical eyesight. This includes seeing the past, present, and future of events, as well as non-physical things such as spirits. Clairvoyance is often described, kind of along the same lines of ESP. Because both is an ability to see and understand things that aren't detected by the average person. You have a little bit of clairvoyance as well.
Yeah.
Because you'll see spirits. I
thought that went with mediumship, though.
Well, and it's that's a lot of these things are so intertwined that, like, you almost, if you have one, you almost are the other.
It's almost easier just to say I'm psychic.
I'm psychic. Yeah. I'm a psychic.
You don't need to know how, what, or why.
Yeah.
Just know I'm psychic, bitch.
Yeah. Listen to me.
I think that's why you and I read so well together, and our readings are so popular, the double reading.
Yeah.
Because between us both,
yeah,
we have a bunch of different gifts thrown together.
Yeah, and it's like we really get a lot of information.
We do get a lot of information.
Yeah, when we do the double readings. The next one is clairsentience. Okay.
Oh, this coven, it's called Coven of the Dead. That
You're
sounds so cool.
You're like, why did everyone get all the cool names? I think our coven name is cool.
I love our coven name. It was kind of my idea.
So, clairsentience is the ability to feel or sense something beyond the physical realm. It was your entire idea.
Yes.
Yeah, you were like, we were kicking things around, and you were like, why don't we call it this? I'm like, that's great. Let's do that.
I'm like, and I want to be a high huntress.
Yes. When we made ours, like, we were just like, okay, listen, we're not going to have the traditional ranking system.
Well, it's because I was reading a news article, and there was this kick-ass, I think it was a Navy pilot, and she was female.
Yeah.
And her call sign that's written on her helmet when she's flying was Huntress. And I called you on the phone. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That's the most badass name I've heard in my life.
Yeah. Because a lot of traditions and a lot of covens and things like that, they have a very set structure, like where you're an initiate and you're first degree, second degree, third degree, high priestess, like there's all these different things.
Yeah.
And in ours, it's really simple. You're either a huntress or a hunter, if you're male. And then once you've achieved, high priest status, you're then a high hunter, high huntress.
Yes.
And that's it. You're done.
You're either A or B.
Yeah. And we don't,
Well, I've always felt like the different levels, like first degree, second degree, whatever.
yeah.
They really make people feel stupid and bad about themselves.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not always the case, but
No.
for someone like me with anxiety, it
Yeah.
really did make me feel bad about myself.
And then if you came in at the same time as someone else and they made a degree quicker than you did.
Which happened.
Yeah. And you'd be like, oh, am I not?
It's like, sorry, I have a family
Yeah.
and other shit to do.
Yeah.
I have a life.
And
Don't get me started.
Yeah. We've had to re-record this podcast once already because we got really offensive. The first time we recorded it, we got so offensive that we were both like, okay, we have to re-record it because
Yeah, it was bad.
there was no way. I even thought like, well, maybe I'll just cut that part out. There was no way to edit it.
Didn't you say like the last 40 minutes was just us going off on a
Yeah,
tangent?
pretty much. Something else, and I'll get back to the psychicness. Something else about our coven that's different is that we don't, like, it's not up to us when you become a high priest or a high priestess. I feel that is something that's a very personal calling and something that either speaks to you or doesn't. And if you feel that you have the knowledge and you feel that you've put the time in and that's where you are spiritually, I'm not going to argue with you and tell you that you're not. When I joined that other group, I had almost 20 years of experience under my belt, and I was told that none of it mattered.
Yeah.
And I was starting fresh.
What was your name? The start out name, Groveler or something like that.
What?
I don't remember.
Like my magical name?
No. What they call people when they're brand new.
Oh, it was a dedicant.
I said
A groveler. Yeah, you would come in as a dedicant.
Oh.
And then you would have your initiation and all that. But I was told that my almost 20 years of experience meant nothing.
I bet all of our people that used to be allowed to be friends with us, I bet they're all like probably working on their second degrees by now.
Yeah, probably.
It takes a long, long time.
Yeah.
To get them.
Well, and because it was so funny because like their requirements was that you completed a year and a day and a 101 before you could join their group.
Yeah.
And that was a way to weed people out. And I had almost 20 years of experience. So I was able to take a test and a written exam and test out of the 101 and join their group.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I took a 101. I took a test to test out of 101 and went straight into their group.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. You could test out if you wanted to test out and not do the 101.
No one gave me that option.
You're mad.
Now I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
So I was like the only dedicant.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I guess. Yeah. So yeah, because anyway, so we in our group we don't do that. Like but here's the thing though, if you come to us and you're like, yeah, I'm on high priestess level and I want you to refer to me as high huntress, or I'm a high priest, high hunter, you better know what you're talking about.
All I ask, as far as labels and shit, is if we're out in public that nobody calls me anything witchy, because I can't be outed.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, what's up? Like,
Yeah.
Don't walk up to me and start doing some shit that
Yeah.
would give it away.
Well, and it was so funny because it reminds me, we've went off on a tangent again. It reminds me there was one time there was on like just my regular everyday Facebook post, and I had gotten in such the habit of calling the clan head my lord, that I actually responded to something in a post with, my lord. And one of my friends from back home was like, what kind of kinky shit do you all have going on?
Yeah.
And
I never called anybody that stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm a jerk.
you're the exact opposite. Like when someone says do this, you're like, no.
So like when I join something, they're like, here's the rules. They should give me a list of the opposite of what they want.
Yeah. Like if they want you to be quiet during ritual, they should be like, okay, the rule is you have to do this.
You have to make all this noise during ritual. And I will stand there dead silent the whole time.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, when's our next lesson?
I'm still writing it.
Okay.
It got really complicated. Because I do that with my research and everything. Like I tend to get more, than what's necessary.
Yeah, because if it was just me doing the podcast, they'd be like 5 minutes long.
Yeah. So the next lesson is on how to like write your spells, which sounds like an easy thing to write a lesson on. But then I was like, well, maybe they want to know about planetary hours, and maybe they want to know about the correspondences.
That's what's holding you up.
Yeah.
The planetary hour.
Well, I explained it. They can do it. Like, it's not going to be this whole big section on planetary hours.
If you want, I'll ask Asen if you could just use his planetary hours stuff from Coven of the Crystal Owls. I bet he'd say yes.
Well, I have stuff from other groups I was just going to throw in there.
Yeah, do that.
Without permission.
Well, I'm sure Asen wouldn't mind if you would want to use mine.
Yeah. Anyway.
My God.
So, we're talking about clairsentience, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Clairsentience is the ability to feel or sense something beyond the physical realm. A person with clairsentience is able to sense the presence of a spirit or other energy, energy-based beings or whatever. This ability has also been described as a knowing. For example, a psychic with this ability can meet someone for the first time and know their name, their birthday, their health conditions,
I have that problem.
Any of that. So yeah, you have clairsentience as well.
I don't have all those things, but I can tell. Somebody can walk by me, and I can tell they're going to die soon or something. Yeah.
A lot of times with people with clairsentience can also, like, pick up things. So with, like, psychometry almost, where you can pick up something and know the history of that.
Yeah, I can't do that. But I don't touch anything.
Right.
But I might have it.
Yeah. You're like, I may have it, and I just don't touch anything. So, these people that have clairsentience, like, they feel energy, they can see energy, and, sense the energy off of objects and things like that, which you do. Now, the last two of the clairs that we talked about, it was so funny because yesterday when we did this, when you're like, I've never even heard of those.
Here we go.
Yeah, clairgustance and clairolfaction.
That makes me think of Gustafson off of Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah. God, that's a good movie. Movies. They were
good.
Yeah, they were funny. Okay, so clairgustance. Do you remember from yesterday what clairgustance was?
No.
You're like, no.
And we've done this 3 times already.
Yeah.
That's bad. God.
So people that have clairgustance, they receive information psychically through the sense of taste.
Mm-hmm.
They may, taste something. Like the example they have is like they may taste blood to indicate a violent death. So they may be picking up on a spirit like, okay, I taste blood. That tells me this person died tragically,
So if I had that, and I had a spirit follow me around that liked to eat pizza all the time, I could constantly get to enjoy
the
taste of pizza.
Without all the calories.
Yes, I could lose weight.
So I mean, and the way that they made that sound, it's like, because you know how you're talking about your Caputo woman, Teresa Caputo, that she will see like symbols that mean certain things to her, and it may not have anything to do with that person or that spirit or anything. But for her, when she sees that symbol, it means A, B, C, and D.
Like when you watch John Edwards do one of his live readings,
yeah,
he'll be like, okay, there's somebody over your right shoulder. Now, guys, I don't know the exact meanings of which side is what. I'm just
paraphrasing.
Yeah, okay. He'll be like, there's a male standing over your right shoulder, which tells me he's from your father's side of the family.
Yeah.
And he's extending his hand, holding out red roses, which means...
Yeah.
So he's not hearing what they're saying.
Yeah.
But some mediums can also hear and see the symbols.
Right. So with the clairgustance, what I'm taking from that is it's saying that, like, if I taste blood, then that's telling me that however that spirit died, it was very violent.
Now, Teresa Caputo actually feels.
Yeah, she'll feel like if they suffocated, she'll have a hard time breathing.
Yeah.
Which I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
When I'm doing readings and stuff. I had my hands start shaking at the fair, and the woman knew exactly. When we would do those type of readings at fairs, it's one person after another, so we forget everything that we read. But when my hands started shaking, she knew what that meant, like, and she was able to relate to it. So like with the clairgustance, you might think, okay, if I get the taste of chocolate ice cream in my mouth, maybe that means it's a child. So it would be whatever that association is for you would tell you about that spirit. And it's the same with the clairolfaction, which is smell. You may smell things associated to spirits. Now, we've both had that happen. Like where you smell something and you know that that's a spirit. And you might even know what spirit it is based on what you're smelling. But yeah, and those two are ones that are not really talked about as much and known as much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping that you guys were able to hear that on the podcast. That was great. Her little dog has mega esophagus. So like every now and then she just makes these sounds where she's hacking up lung juice.
Ugh.
And that was the sound.
I just killed my first bug of spring.
Oh, well, spring's officially here. It's still twitching. Jeez.
It won't die!
Anyway. Oh, gosh. So those are the clairs. There's 6 different types of clairs. And, a lot of times psychics will have a little bit of everything, when it comes to those. And you and I even talking about it, like, well, I have a little bit of this, I have a little bit of that. Like, I've seen spirits, but I don't continually see spirits. So I would say I have a touch of that, but I don't have any control over it.
I can see spirits, but the way... Jesus, God, it won't die.
Use your fingers and...
Ew, no!
It's already halfway dead.
No, I don't know where it's...
Grab a wipe and do it. You don't know where the bug has been. You almost legit just said, I don't know where it's been.
It could have been in somebody's crotch. I don't know.
Well, it's in your house.
It came off an animal.
Okay.
And they go outside.
Well, you have baby wipes right there. Grab a baby wipe and use it to kill it. Jesus. You know what's so funny is like there's parts of my life where I would not survive without you. And there's parts of your life that I don't know what you would do if I wasn't here to be like, there's a real simple answer to your problem.
What were we we talking about? Oh, I can see spirits, but you know how I have that thing where I can constantly see energy moving all around?
Yeah.
Like I see it moving all around behind you right now. It's like when I see them, the best way to describe it is, it's like they're made out of water.
Yeah.
And I can see an outline of them like they're made out of water. I don't see like facial features and I can't tell you what grandma looked like when she was 25, you know.
Yeah.
I just see a figure standing there like something out of Aquaman. Like, you know the little, where the evil king dude would project himself.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that.
You're like, oh, yeah. So the spirits are from Atlantis.
So I'm Aquaman.
You're Aquaman. Oh, gosh. Our relationship would be a lot different if he was Jason Momoa. I'll tell you that right now.
I'd have to get a restraining order.
You would. And not just against me, because Lady Gwendolyn,
yeah,
she likes him just as much as I do.
Uh-oh.
Like, if it ever was come down to where it was her, like, that you know, we were in a room together and Jason Momoa walked in, I guarantee you that we would have to throw down on each other.
Yeah.
Because that's how equally obsessed over Jason Momoa that we are.
I have to say something. I know it's off topic, but that's who I am.
That's what we do here at Feather and Bone.
The Crystal Lotus shop in St. Albans, they are having a group past life regression meditation.
What?
On Friday, April 19th from 6 to 7. It's only $25 to go.
Okay, you need to get a hold of your husband and tell him he has to take that day off.
I want to go.
Yeah, so he can be here with your daughter. What time?
I'll take her and let her do it.
Oh, what time is it?
From 6 to 7.
Oh, we're going.
We're going.
Okay.
I'm going to mark that I'm going. Now, it's under my Witchy account.
Yeah.
So, I might not... I'll screenshot it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll also, when we're done with the podcast, I'll go and... do we pay ahead of time or we pay when we get there?
Oh, and we have to bring a pen and paper.
Okay.
But it doesn't say...
We can ask Asen later.
Oh yeah, Asen would know.
Yeah, he's all up in the Crystal Lotus. Anyway, okay, so other forms of psychic ability. Now, you know,
sorry guys.
Hey, you know, I'm glad that all of our little side conversations, at least today, are not offensive. Like yesterday, everything was offensive.
Yesterday, you were like step by step fucking Putin.
Well, that's not offensive.
While he's wrestling a bear.
That's not offensive. Putin, I will talk about Putin every day, all day. That Putin's not offensive. It was everything that came after Putin. He opened the floodgates, though.
Yeah.
For all the offensiveness. But anyway, so now we're going to get into some, you know, very specific forms that kind of fall under a lot of the clairs.
Yes.
That you may have. And the first thing we're going to talk about is astral projection. Astral projection is the voluntary ability to project your conscious awareness outside of your physical body. There is, it can be involuntary, and they often explain those to be like out-of-body experiences as opposed to astral projection. When you're actually astral projecting, you're doing it on purpose. A lot of times you meditate to get into that state. You have a very clear idea of where it is you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to do. It says that the astral body, often defined as the soul, is much like your physical body, only it's not bound to the laws of a physical body. Astral bodies can move through walls and other solid matter and travel anywhere in the physical or astral world. A lot of times they describe what's called a silver cord that connects your astral body to your physical body. And even though it looks real delicate, it's actually very strong, and it transmits strength and knowledge from the astral body back to your physical body so that you can retain the memories of what you just did.
I have never seen a cord.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen, like, when I do cord cutting, like the energy I have with somebody.
Yeah.
I see those, but I've never seen when astral traveling.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never, like, I've and I talked about this yesterday with the first time we recorded this podcast. I've only, you know, astral traveled twice. And even on those two occasions, I'm not 100% comfortable saying that it was actual astral travel. I have a very active imagination. I have a very developed imagination. And it could be that I just imagined everything that I saw. I have no proof.
I have had some experiences that felt so real that to this day, I can remember them so clearly.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell what it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to talk about what I did either,
But it leaves me really confused and fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, was that real?
Yeah. See, I don't have that. My questioning whether it was real isn't because it felt so real. It's like, I'm not really sure.
Mine, I don't understand because it's only felt that real once or twice, but like I could physically feel, like I could reach out and touch you and feel you there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So like your memory of it wasn't just like this is something that was in your mind, like there's tactile, sensory type connections with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I didn't have that. So I don't know. I may not have ever.
Remind me to tell you about it later.
Okay. Now, there's a really thin line between what they describe. Well, first with astral projection, with the whole silver cord and all that. There are people out there that say that if you damage your cord while you're astral traveling, you won't be able to find your way back to your body.
I don't believe that.
I don't believe that. I want to call
your soul knows where it goes.
Yeah, well, and it's like, either your soul is bound to a body or it's not. And when it's not, it goes in queue to be put into another one. Through reincarnation.
After it makes some plans.
Yeah, like after it has some time to decompress and talk to other souls.
Get some counseling.
Yeah, get some counseling and see what they've learned and, what they still need to learn. And then they decide where they're going to go next time around,
Here in about 20 minutes, I'll need to run to the bus stop.
Okay.
And
we'll pause it if that is the case. So I don't believe that aspect. I don't think that if you damage the cord, your soul's going to get lost. There's people that say that people in comas, that's why they can't wake up is because, no, they're in a coma because they have traumatic brain injury. Anyway. But then you have the out-of-body experiences. Now, there's a very thin line between what an astral projection is and an out-of-body experience. And basically, the difference is with an out-of-body experience, like, it happens almost suddenly. There's no thought process to it like you do with astral projection. It can happen when you're frightened, when you're threatened, hurt, if you're, extreming some type, or having some type of extreme emotion. You might have an out-of-body experience. And you had talked about having one. When your son was going to school for the first time.
Yes.
Your anxiety was so high that you actually had an out-of-body experience and checked in on him at school.
Yeah.
And when you went to pick him up, you went in and what you had seen while you were out of body was exactly the environment that he was in.
Yes.
So...
down to the design on the carpet and everything.
Yeah. So you have, and I've never had an out-of-body experience. Now the next one is the near-death experience, and I'm going to say it again, like I said last time we recorded this. I will never be able to talk about near-death experiences again without thinking about Netflix and their show, The OA. If you have never seen The OA on Netflix, go watch it. It's a mind trip. It'll fuck you up. Basically, there's a scientist guy that likes to study near-death experiences, so he kidnaps people and he kills them over and over again so that he can keep studying their near-death experiences. But anyway. Yeah. So when they talk about near-death experiences...
And it's Malfoy's dad.
Yeah, oh, he's so hot, too. That actor.
Yeah.
I don't know. He just does something for me. But near-death experiences, like they'll say, like they see themselves kind of, they're kind of floating over their body and they can see themselves down there, or they may see a light or relatives, something that lets them know that it's a near-death experience. I've never had a near-death experience either. So
Me either.
the closest I could come to was when on one of my surgeries, it was my hysterectomy. They were putting me to sleep, and I remember all of a sudden not being able to breathe, and I was strapped down. My arms and everything were strapped down, and so I couldn't move or anything to let them know that I couldn't breathe, and I went under thinking I'm dying. And then when surgery was over and they brought me back out of it, that was the first thought that I remember having waking up too, was like, I'm dying, but I wasn't. I did have bruises on my neck from where they had to hurry up and intubate me. So I did stop breathing, for them to have to hurry up and do that. Now, I don't know if I would say that was a near-death experience or just me going to sleep at the same moment that I'm thinking I can't fucking breathe. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. So the next one is someone that can read auras, an aura reader. They have the ability to perceive a person's energy colors that are commonly called auras. According to a lot of different lore, especially Egyptian and Hindu traditions, there are 12 different bodies within the auric field, and they would have different colors. And those colors would mean different things. Now, I did not look those up.
I do not know anything about auras.
Yeah, like you see energy, but you don't see what other people would say an aura is based on color.
I don't see colors.
Yeah, so
I know auras can get damaged.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Now, you're able to tell if someone's energy is low or high.
I can tell if they're fucked up.
Yeah. So, but they say that the auric field
I'm so eloquent.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
You got problems.
The auric field is often seen radiating 6 to 18 inches outside of the physical body. By someone being able to know what the colors mean, they can provide insight into the emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual nature of the person that's being read.
I think I never took the time to learn what the colors stand for just because I can't see them.
Yeah. Well, there'd be no point.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Every time I've had someone tell me the color of mine, it's always been yellow. So we would have to look up yellow and see what yellow means.
Yeah, because I know all about the chakras, but I'm sure the yellow chakra is way different from what yellow means.
Well, what's a yellow chakra?
That's your powerhouse. That's confidence.
Well.
I could go into more detail, but
yeah, that's not what this podcast is about. But I could if that it's funny if that correlates. That would be funny because you'll even say like I'll walk into a room and immediately everyone knows that like I'm the one that could fuck their life up. like when we're working with clients.
You scare people.
I don't mean to. I'm the nicest person. Like I'm in there like, hey, I'm going to help you and we're going to get this.
And why do they tell me everything?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I'm the one that doesn't give a fuck.
So the next ability is automatic writing. And we actually know someone that automatic writes. We know someone that thinks they can.
Asen has talked about it. He told me how to try it. But I can't remember if he said he's done it before.
Okay.
I'll have to ask him because that'd be cool.
Yeah.
If he could give us a lesson on.
Oh, yeah.
Give you and me a lesson on that.
Automatic writing doesn't occur from the conscious mind. Instead, the writing is generated from the channeling of spirits. This was a real big thing, back when Houdini and everything was around. That was, having someone do automatic writing was a big show, but it was also something that was very easy to be used as a hoax.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's why it doesn't have. It's not as known and practiced because it just has this bad name from...
Well, okay, with automatic writing, from what I understand, the spirit takes control of your hand.
Yes, it's not you writing. You have no idea what you're writing.
Now, I know someone who thinks they can automatic write, but that they do not. They say they will not allow a spirit to have control.
Yeah.
Over their hand. And I'm like... I don't see how that would work.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that there's been cases of people that have, done automatic writing and they would write in another language, a language that was not known to them.
Yeah.
And, if that's happening, I would say it's a safe bet to say that person is legit. Like, if you can prove that they don't know another language, but yet they're writing full sentences in it.
There was something else I was going to say, but I'm not going to because I don't want to give away who the person is.
Yeah, no.
I'll leave it alone.
Yeah. So, and we had joked about it yesterday when we did this podcast the first time, that like, if I started writing in hieroglyphs, like you might be able to say...
What did I say, Sanskrit?
Yeah. You might be able to take it to the bank that's a real thing. Now, I do something that's called like free form writing, like, because I'm an author. And sometimes when you get like a mental block, like you'll just start typing. And like whatever words come out and whatever, gets on the page, it will open up those creative processes. But that's coming from me. That's not coming from that's the difference between free form writing and automatic writing, is because, that everything else is like, I've had whole ideas for books come out of my head doing that.
Yeah.
And like, once I get that idea out of my head, then I can get back to the story that I'm trying to write.
Speaking of that, you know what I'm going to ask you.
I've been working on my book.
You have?
Yeah. Because it's so close to being done. It's really ridiculously close to being done. But the problem is I hadn't worked on it in so long that I forgot some of the storyline. So I'm having to reread it. And if I'm going to reread it, I'm going to go ahead and edit it while I'm rereading it. So I'm reading and I'm making corrections, and then I'll finish it and send it for publication.
I still need to download your books and read them.
You know what? That is the biggest, because I have books that I've self-published on Amazon. There's 4 or 5 of them out there. And she's my best friend.
My best good friend.
In the whole world. And she has not read a single one of my books. Not a single one. And it really... Like, if I was going to say one thing in our friendship that bothers me, that's it.
Nothing else bothers you?
Just the fact that, like, I have... And you like to read the stuff that I write. It's not like I'm writing, something that you have no interest reading. It's stuff that you like and that you would enjoy.
Are you on Audible?
No.
Do you want me to narrate your books on Audible?
I would have to look and we could see if that's a thing. Like, I don't know. Because you can self-publish on Amazon, but I don't know if you can self-publish on Audible. We'll have to see.
Okay.
But you realize when you do that, you're going to have to, like, act out the parts because you have to change your voice and everything. You can't just read it as Rain the whole time. You can't just get on there with, like, a monotone voice.
I don't think they would let me because of the accent thing.
Jim Frangione, who does the narration for the Black Dagger Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Hearing him do some of the female voices in the Black Dagger Brotherhood is just hilarious. But anyway, we digress yet again. The next one is channeling. Channeling is what mediums use to communicate with disembodied spirits. People who have this ability are actually called mediums.
Do you want to know why they're called mediums? Because I know.
Go ahead. I don't know if this is going to be true information or a joke.
No, it's true.
Okay.
I swear to God, it's true. Because as humans, we don't vibrate at as high frequency as spirit on the other side. So you have to raise your vibrations pretty high. And then the spirits have to lower their vibrations to meet you, where you meet in the middle.
Oh,
so that you can communicate. That's why you're called a medium.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly walking around pissed off, my life sucks, blah, blah, you're never going to get messages from spirit.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because they can't lower their vibrations that low.
Yeah. They're like you're not going to bring me down. Some people that channel actually allow the spirits to take control of their bodies, similar to the automatic writing. Yet other mediums don't relinquish control over their bodies. They just pass on the information. The purpose of the communication is varied. With the spirit giving information, sometimes it'll actually create paranormal activity. But that allows for examination and validation. of what's happening. But the main purpose of channeling is so that that spirit can communicate with our world. Now, divination is a form of psychic ability, and I think that talks more about like what you do to tap into your psychic abilities. Because divination is a practice that's used to find answers to questions by observation of various natural signs. Some are given by the spirit world. There are many forms of divination that a psychic can use. Dowsing rods is an example. Tarot cards, tea leaves, crystal balls, pendulums, Ouija boards. Bibliomancy.
I had my aura measured by dowsing rods one time.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed.
You're like, it's a stick.
Yeah, they had these 2 metal
Yeah.
sticks, and it would spread to show how far out your aura, your energy field went.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, yours goes out whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what am I supposed to do with
Like,
that?
that's nice to know. You're like, now I know my aura size or whatever it is. Like,
Next time I go shopping.
yeah, I know what size to get. We talked about, like yesterday when we talked about this, the bibliomancy really kind of piqued my interest, and I want to do some more information gathering on it.
Speaking of that, in my divination Which Way magazine issue,
Yes.
you can buy dice with letters on them, and you'll have a bunch of different dice
Yeah.
with different sets of letters on them, and you can
Ah.
divinate that way.
Ah.
I guess kind of like
Yeah, and then see, you did the jerking off hand motion.
and then tossed it.
Yeah. I'm done with that. But bibliomancy is where you take a book and you let it fall open, and then like whatever's on the page is the answer to what you need. I would not go by the time on that because sometimes it's not correct.
It is correct.
Okay. But we were talking about bibliomancy yesterday because like the Black Dagger Brotherhood books is a good example. You know, that's all about vampires and the Omega being this like big, nasty, evil entity.
He's pretty nasty.
So if I was like, you know, going to let the Black Dagger Brotherhood book fall open and it talks about how I need to go visit the Scribe Virgin, what the fuck does that mean? You know, you were talking about a book that you're reading right now where like in the first couple pages, someone's parents are murdered.
Yeah, the elf dude comes and
Yeah.
or fairy or whatever the hell he is.
Yeah. So if you're having family issues and you drop that book open and it comes to the murdering the parents scene, are you going to go murder your parents? Like, so I need more information on how bibliomancy works. The only book I can possibly think that would work with bibliomancy is if like a person would use the Bible.
Bible sucks.
And that's because there's a lot of like instructions in the Bible on how to live your life. That's the only way that I could even think
Just stories.
that bibliomancy would work.
You know what would be funny? If they were going to do it using bibliomancy for guidance.
Yeah.
What should I do? And they opened up this section on Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. And they're like, okay, I'm going to have to circle around the city so many times blowing on my trumpet.
Yeah.
They're going to be circling somebody's house,
Yeah.
blowing on a trumpet.
That person would be like, what the hell?
And the offspring doesn't have a trumpet. She has a trombone.
Yeah,
So
forward.
she'd be out there. Moo, 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 moo. Anyway.
Also won't even touch the Bible. It's
Yeah.
hideous.
So, but 50 Shades of Grey is another book that we talked about that would not really... Depends on what the situation was, whether or not that would be appropriate, you know? So I don't know. And, you know, we're making fun of it, but we know nothing about it. Like, we need to do some research on bibliomancy to see...
Burn the Bible.
it has nothing to do with the Bible.
My God.
You should never burn any book unless you're freezing, and then burn all the books. Because books hold information. And even though we don't agree with the Bible, we don't follow the Bible, we're not Christians. Like, do you know how upset your papa would get if he heard you say that? You have to respect other people's beliefs. You have to. You don't have to agree with them.
But nobody will know.
Well, if you're burning your Bible in private, You can burn your Bible in private. Just don't talk about it.
Don't burn any that I've paid for. I don't know if I've bought any. But...
They'll need some dry leaves, wood, and matches.
But I would need to do more research on bibliomancy before I can make a educated, because as far as like different forms of divination, the only thing that works for me is tarot. And oracle cards, tarot but even then I need them to be like a traditional Rider-Waite deck doesn't speak an iota to me. I need a deck that has a lot of imagery and colors and things like that for me to use it. So I can use oracle cards and tarot cards. Now you can use tarot, oracle, and a pendulum. That's another divination tool. We have tried the Ouija board.
Wait, what?
And it just never went, like, it'll be, we're like, talk to us, and like every time it's like, no.
It literally says no.
And then nothing else the rest of the night. Like, we get it to move once, and then like,
I want to be a part of that.
you want to try a Ouija board?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
With you guys.
Well, yeah, we're fine with that. I got your mom one for her birthday last year. Or year before.
Year before.
That's not fun,
yeah.
though.
So the next psychic ability that it talks about is empathy. Being an empathic person. A psychic with empathic abilities is able to feel another person's emotions as well as their physical pains. The ability is involuntary, but the psychic can learn to control how he or she reacts to these often confusing feelings that don't belong to them.
Me.
I think all of us in this room are empathic.
I wish I wasn't.
Yeah, you have a harder time with it. And I think that probably led to a lot of anxiety for you.
It does.
I can imagine being with you and your anxiety.
I'm more of the energetic empath.
Yeah.
Of energy.
Like with you when you were going to school and you're having your own anxiety, but then you're also empathically picking up on other people's anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was probably hell.
I was sick to my stomach every single day.
Yeah. I use mine. Like, mine helps me in my everyday life, like with my job, being a social worker and being able to understand where people are coming from and why they, make the decisions they make. And, because no one grows up thinking, like, when I grow up, I'm going to be a drug addict.
Basically, cons and pros about being an empath. Am I correct?
We're trying to discuss psychic abilities.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the offspring. I'm here.
Yeah, I'm the offspring. I'm here. So it helps me in my everyday job, to be able to pick up on, because no one grows up thinking I'm going to be a drug addict. I'm going to do all these bad things. I'm going to ruin my life. No one ever thinks that. There's all these things that lead up to that. And a lot of times people are so marred in their addictions and everything that they themselves have forgotten the emotions behind what led to it. So having that ability really helps, The next one is ESP abilities, which is extrasensory perceptions. This is probably one of the best known ones, ESP. So what it is with ESP is it's your ability to perceive things that others may not. It's often grouped together with a lot of other psychic abilities such as telepathy, clairvoyance, things like that. Intuition. Now everyone has intuition. Every single person alive has intuition. Intuition plays a role in different types of psychic abilities. It's an innate sense of events, thoughts, activities, and feelings that others that are outside of the normal human ability to perceive those things. Like, it's like almost like a super jacked up version of an intuitive feeling.
I've heard. I'm going to say this. I'm trying to keep my mouth shut so we can get done. I will say this. I've heard a lot of people say that they feel like women have more intuition than men.
Yeah.
Ever better.
Yeah. Well, and I that's probably just comes with, because historically and, from the beginning of the time, like, it was our job to keep our children alive. And there was a time when keeping your children alive required a lot more than just what we do today, feed, clothe, house. They would have to, be able to know that their children were safe. So that's probably, what led to women having more of an intuitive ability than what men have. But it says that an example is someone with, intuition may have a very strong feeling that someone they just met has a drinking problem, even though the person shows no outward appearance of being an alcoholic. So, it's, and you've done that. Like you've intuitively met people and be like, they're sick.
Yeah. And
they are sick, and there's no outward sign that they're sick. You're just feeling it and you're in tune to it. You've also had like where you've told your husband, like, drive a different way to work today. And then you find out there was a wreck on the road that he should have taken. Mm-hmm. So you have that. I think that when it's like moms who will say, like, if their kids are kidnapped and they're like, I know my child's still alive. And everyone else is like, no, it's been so long. Like, there's no way. And then the child's found alive. It's just like, I felt it. I knew it.
Mm-hmm. That women are superior.
I'm using women as an example. Men have it too. I mean, men have the ability to be, it's like when a man wakes up in the middle of the night and there's nothing, he hasn't heard anything, but he knows that there's danger near. And there might be someone like, sneaking around the outside of the house or something.
Boomer.
Like Boomer. Yeah. Boomer's a good boy. So it's,
you had to say his name.
Yeah, I know. It's so intuition, when you're talking about, like, as a psychic ability, it's like intuition on steroids. The next one we talked about maybe doing this one, maybe not doing this one in the podcast, but the levitation. You and I have never seen levitation happen.
I'm interested. Keep going.
I don't think it's real.
Okay, but still.
I think it's real.
I don't think it is. I mean, I think if it was and we could, like, someone would be doing that and showing that.
They probably do it in Asia.
You've never been to Asia.
They do cool shit in Asia.
I know an Asian. They would have told me.
They might not be allowed.
It's like sworn to secrecy.
It might be one of those things where you have to kill the people.
The saddest day ever was when I lost my less than 1% of Asian ancestry.
Yeah.
My DNA had originally said I had less than 1% of Asian ancestry. And then as they got more and more blood results in, they were like, no, sorry, you're not less than 1% Asian.
Wouldn't that be like 0% Asian?
Yeah. But levitation is the act of lifting or raising into the air without any support. In the Hindu religion, it's considered the result of a supernatural event. This ability is rare, although many people have imitated it only to be discovered to be tricksters or that it was a hoax. A lot of times people that talk about, levitation connect it to, like, demonic possession.
Well, of course, because Jesus enduring virtue.
Yeah.
Yes, and exorcisms.
You enduring virtue. But it is kind of funny because, like, according to the Catholics, they've actually put some credence to levitation because to say that it's true.
Oh, okay.
I'm completely lost my train of thought.
We're talking about Jesus, enduring virtue, levitation,
and Catholics.
Okay.
Would you lose your train of thought in mid-sentence?
I'm losing it because you're interrupting me so much, to be honest.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I love you to death, but you're interrupting a lot.
I'm a child, it's my job.
Well, it is, but now that you're aware, control yourself.
But what if I don't want to?
According to Catholics, there's Saint Teresa of Avila was born in Avila, Spain in 1515, and she was actually canonized in 1622. It's documented that she would sometimes rise from the ground. And if she felt that God was going to levitate her body, she would stretch out on the floor and call for the nuns to come and sit on her and hold her down. So the Catholics actually, put that as, part of the proof that she should have been canonized. So The Catholics say levitation's a thing. The next thing is psychic surgery, and psychic surgery is highly controversial because there's a lot of hoaxers out there who say they're doing this and they're not doing it. But genuine psychic surgeons, are said to have the ability to create an energetic healing. Now, we know this to be true. We know the psychic surgery to be true because you helped with my brain tumor.
I feel like I'm a somewhat psychic surgeon with Ginger.
You are able to help animals feel better. Ginger will be sick and on the verge of needing to go to the vet, and you're able to use your energy to make her feel better.
Yay.
And get her better. But with my brain tumor, it was growing, and that caused my brain to swell, and I got that feeling in your legs, like when your legs are asleep, and that they wouldn't go away. So they did the scan, found out, yes, you have a tumor, your brain's swelling. And then immediately Rain started doing energy work on my tumor. And literally the neurologist come in and she's like, I can't explain it. But your swelling is gone. Your tumor is not growing anymore. And I told her that my best friend and a couple people back home was really sending a lot of healing energy, and she said she was really interested in it because there's actually studies that show that can actually have an effect on the human body. So it has been confirmed by medical personnel that, psychic surgery does work. Reiki is a form of healing that is, that psychic surgeons will practice. Reiki practitioners work with auras. So that's just another form of it.
With what?
Auras.
I don't work with auras.
It's energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that like a person's energy?
Yeah. And then this was the one that you were freaking out about, the bare hand surgeons.
That's cool shit.
It says the other type of psychic surgeons are known as the Filipino bare hand surgeons who practice ancient Asian art of energy incision surgery. The energy incision is made and the surgeon plunges his or her bare hands into the patient's body to remove diseased tissue or correct an internal disorder. The energetic incision automatically heals once the surgery is over. The latter type of psychic surgery has a controversial history plagued by hoaxes and charlatans. Now, this is one that I would need to do more research on this one. I have a hard time thinking that anyone's going to be able to physically put their hand in someone's body and it not leave a mark.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Well, what comes to my mind is Indiana Jones and Raiders of whatever it was, where what was it, Kali Ma, he sticks his hand in. I don't know. I would need to see that to believe that could happen. And so yeah, I just don't know. And of course, then there's on Stargate SG-1. The replicators, they're able to stick their hands inside a person's head. And that also reminds me of that. So I've not seen anything that makes me think it's real. She's showing me YouTube videos of it. Is it showing their hands?
Right there.
I would want to see afterwards where he pulls his hand out and he's not got a big old sore open thing in his, I don't know. So the next one it talks about is precognition. Precognition is the ability to see future events or have prior knowledge of an event that's about to happen. This is often done through the use of other psychic abilities such as ESP or clairvoyance. There are several ways that a psychic receives details of future events. This can be in a vision or a flash of knowledge about the impending event. The psychic can receive a great deal of details or have very limited information. Another way is through a dream. You might have a dream that tells you about a future event that's going to happen.
Me.
I have that too.
Many times that the event involves or is related to a loved one. So, and I think everyone has a little bit of this, precognition as well. Deja vu has been linked to precognition. It's not so much that you're having it's not like what we think deja vu is. That's actually you having a psychic, remembrance of something that hasn't happened yet. Psychometry describes the ability of utilizing one or more other abilities, such as clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. The psychic can pick up information, impressions, events, thoughts, and even visions of a place or object. This often involves the sense of touch. So this is when you pick something up. You'll see it a lot of times in the movies, like where they'll hold a piece of jewelry and they're able to tell you about the person who owned it and all of that kind of stuff. So is it psychometry, I think, as I'm saying it right.
I would have corrected you.
If I said it wrong?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's, and a lot of times people will say that pet psychics are using a form of psychometry because they're touching the pet and they're pulling information from it. Now, the next one, Rain wishes she had this, and I know the offspring is going to wish that she had this.
Or will have.
I'm skeptical about whether or not this is real or not. Pyrokinesis.
What's that?
Pyrokinesis refers to the ability to create fire with the mind and then be able to control it. The reason why I've never seen, again, but I've never seen $1 million in person either. That doesn't mean $1 million doesn't exist. I've just never seen it. But one of the reasons I have a hard time with it is because the word pyrokinesis was actually made up by Stephen King. It wasn't anywhere in the English language, no language anywhere until he created it.
Ooh, have an example. Sometimes when my candle will be standing up straight, I can blow on it, still be straight, and I can see dance. I'll be dancing.
Yeah, but what they're saying with pyrokinesis is that you don't use a lighter to light the candle first. I just don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's something.
I bet they can do it in Asia.
Yeah, Asia.
So yeah, I don't know. Pyrokinesis, I'm not really sure it's a thing. Now, telekinesis is the next one. Now, telekinesis is the ability to control physical matter with your mind.
I want that.
Now, we think that might be a thing. She should now Raina's showing me a video on pyrokinesis because I'm going to believe everything I see on the internet.
You watch YouTube all the time.
That doesn't mean I believe everything that I see. Just because there's a YouTube video on it doesn't mean it's real. There's a YouTube video where some dumbass takes a charcoal briquette or whatever it's called that you set on fire in your grill, and it was all red and hot, right? And they plunged it down inside a jar of peanut butter. And you're supposed to leave it sit and then put it in ice. And then when you rinse it off, it's supposed to turn that into a crystal.
No, it's not.
But it's on YouTube. It must be real.
Irony.
You're a butthole.
I'm just saying. Just saying.
Don't be a malakas. It's Greek for asshole.
Oh.
Daddy!
Who did you learn that from?
The internet.
The internet? Oh, well.
Translator.
But telekinesis, I do think that is one of the ones that's real. Now, I don't, how you see on the, in shows and stuff where things are flying around the room and someone's able to levitate, great big objects or whatever. I don't believe that level of it. But, I've seen people be able to affect flame and say without any wind or anything, no blowing, nothing in the room, they're able to say, okay, I'm going to make this perfectly straight candle flame blow to the left, and it'll move to the left. And okay, now I'm going to do it to the right, and it'll go to the right.
Slide
to the left. Yes.
Crisscross.
Have you seen that video where the one guy's doing it like so extra? And he's putting a lot of moves into it. I'll have to send it to you. It's hilarious. So, I do think that telekinesis can be real. but I don't think it's at the level that when someone sees or hears telekinesis, or they see it on the internet, or they see it in movies, I don't think it's to that level. But I do think that you're able to use your mind to affect the things that are around you, because that's what we believe in. So the last one that we're going to talk about is telepathy. And I've got that right the entire podcast. What did I say last time?
Telepathy.
It was hilarious. It uses physical senses in order to create a direct communication between individuals through thoughts, emotions, and imagery. There are 3 types, and the first one is instinctual. This form is subconsciously controlled and is the lesser of the 3. It's the type of communication a mother and child have, and is often based on an emotional tie. These communications are vague and often subtle forms of impressions. Now, you and I have this. Like, you'll know when I'm depressed.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to feel it, and I haven't said anything. Because I'm a high-functioning, I have high-functioning depression. So I'm able to function in my everyday life, and most people don't realize what's going on with me. And you'll call me, and you'll be like, what's wrong? And, like, legit, I was crying, like, 2 seconds before, I don't.
That could be an empath thing, too.
It could be. And I think that you and I spend a lot of time. See, that's something else. That a lot of these abilities are so intertwined that you almost will always have more than one, because they're so interconnected. But you and I, we spend a lot of time together. So I'm wondering how much of that is just the fact that we're so in tune to each other because of how much time that we spend together. The next one is intuitional. Oh, jeez. Wow. That word was not going to come out. Intuitional. Did that come out wrong again?
I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
Explain, Bev.
It's the form of now I can't get any words right now. I'm so fucked up.
Where are you?
Right here.
Intuitional.
So I got it right. Okay. The way you looked at me made me question myself.
Did I give you a look?
You did.
I didn't know I was giving a look.
It was that mom look. But it's a form of it's like strictly mind to mind, with direct communications absent of any possible misunderstandings or misinterpretations. And we actually do that with each other too. Like, we can look at each other and just with a look say everything we need to say. Like, for example, if you had been with me yesterday evening when I left here and I was at the Dollar General and I saw that really heavily pregnant woman buying cigarettes and Mountain Dew, and then she didn't have enough money, so she put the Mountain Dew back and got the cigarettes. You and I would have looked at each other and with one look been able to communicate
what the fuck
and all the judgment that come along with seeing that happen.
That's what I am like right now from just hearing that.
Yeah, she's like, what? I will admit I judged that person pretty harshly. But anyway. And then the last form is intellectual. And this form is about entire concepts being communicated in the blink of an eye with complete understanding. Again, it's that look, where you might be able to say something. Another form, it wasn't the last one. I don't know what I was thinking.
You sit on a love seat of lies.
This one is the last one because it's the last paragraph. Animal telepathy.
I believe it.
And we've seen the offspring communicate with animals.
Yeah.
And they love her. I mean, every single animal that comes up to her is just like, love me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Psychics with this ability communicate with animals, like through a psychic connection. Now, obviously they're not hearing full thoughts, but it's like they're able to feel what that dog is feeling and connect it to what the dog may want based on that. It's believed that people who excel at training animals tend to have this form of telepathy without realizing it. So Cesar
Milan
And then, what's that guy's name? That whatever Galaxy. He does the My Cat.
Jason Galaxy.
Yeah, My Cat from Hell. The Horse Whisperer guy, whatever his name was. You never heard of the Horse Whisperer?
I don't know.
There was a movie based on it, but there's a real guy who can communicate and train horses and help horses that have been abused and everything.
How do you abuse a horse? That horse could kill you.
You can abuse horses.
Really?
Yeah, you can cobble a horse.
What is that?
It's when they tie their legs together so that they can't really
That's
walk.
mean.
Yeah. And there's also like when you wear the spurs, and they'll put extra sharp spurs on their boots so that when they kick the horse, it actually cuts into them and makes them bleed.
That's mean.
You can abuse a horse. Just because it's big doesn't mean that you know. And a lot of times when they talk about, like, especially when they take wild horses and break them, how they're breaking them is they're doing some very bad, hurtful things to them to break their spirit. Yep. I just ruined your whole day. You're like, I wasn't aware that you could be mean to such a majestic animal. Yeah, you can abuse a horse.
You can abuse any animal.
Exactly. You can abuse any animal.
Even a snake.
Yeah.
A snail. Even.
What's that?
I'll abuse some slugs. I hate slugs.
You like pour salt on them.
You pour beer out. They like beer.
Yeah.
And it attracts them. You'll go outside and there's like tons of slugs out there, and then you just dump salt on them. So they're all happy, like, hey,
Hey, we're drunk, having a good time, and you're like, it's about to end.
Salt.
But that was our podcast on
later.
on psychic abilities, and it took 4 times to get through it. The first time we were very offensive at the very end, so we had to redo it. And then there was the blood. And then there was a psychic call in the middle of one.
Yeah.
But this time we managed to fix it, to finish it.
Sorry for all of my interruptions.
Your interruptions were okay.
I sure bet.
I get frustrated with children.
Which is why she doesn't have any.
Which is why I don't have them. Doesn't mean I don't love you.
Well, I'm 13.
I'm patient with children.
You're like one of the best kids I know. So this is Ravenwind.
This is Rain.
Luna.
You're going to be Luna today?
Yes.
The offspring is now Luna. Remember, you can go to our website at featherandbone.net. There you can have access to our lessons. Our store is on there. There's some photos of our pets and just all kinds of neat stuff. Links to the Facebook group. You can go join us on Facebook. I think that's about it. So remember, it's magic, motherfuckers.
Yee!